Hi, welcome to today's demonstration. Today I'd like to demonstrate a basic watercolor technique called the gradient wash. As you can see, as the name implies, it's a wash that graduates from a dark value to a light value. This is a basic technique. You'll use it a lot, especially if you do landscapes. As you can tell, it's great for skies. So let me show you how this is done. Begin by taking some clean water and wetting your paper where you want the gradient wash to be. Get the paper good and wet. As you can see, I've gotten the paper nice and wet. It's not sopping wet. The water is not dripping off the page, but it's nice and wet. Okay, to make the gradient wash work better, elevate the top of it so it's at an angle. Now, take a flat brush. A flat brush usually works really great for skies. You can do this with the rounded brush too if you wanted, if it called for it. But today we're going to use our flat brush. So let's get some colors. Let's use red for this demo. So get some red color out of your palette. As saturated as you want it, as saturated as you want the color to be. So we're going to really load this up. Okay, to do this, get the brush loaded and start up top or where you want the darkest value to be and start laying in your color. Okay, now don't load the brush anymore and just start overlapping a little bit and work down. As you can see, it gets lighter as you work down. Now if you want it to get lighter faster, you can clean out your brush and start back up top and work down. As you can see, it gets lighter much faster this way. Now say you want this top to be darker, so go back up in here, grab some more pigment on your brush, lay it in on top here, and then just like before, keep working down. Now by elevating the top of the paper, that helps the pigment be pulled down the page and gives you a much smoother gradient. We just keep working it until you got this nice smooth gradient. Say you want it even more saturated up top, just keep adding paint. Keep pulling it down. And it's as simple as that. Now, typically I would let this dry. I would leave it at this angle, that way as it dries it can continue to pull the paint down the page. So I'll take a minute and let this dry and show you what it looks like afterwards, and then I'll demonstrate how to do this, use this technique in an actual painting. So I'll be right back. Alright, welcome back. Now that this is dry, as you can see, it has a nice gradation from dark to light. To demonstrate how you would use this in a painting, we're going to paint this nice little lovely sunset. So let me get my paper here. Draw my tree line. Doesn't have to be anything too precise, so just draw my tree line. Now, one secret that you can do, well, it's not really a secret, but since I want the top of this sky to be really, really dark, I'm not going to wet the top couple of inches of the page. That way it starts out really dark. So I'm going to start here, down here at the bottom, and wet the paper with clean water, like I demonstrated over here. I'm going to wet the page down below where the tree line is, because I'm going to want the sunset colors to peek through the trees. So I'm going to wet the page almost all the way down to the bottom, and then all the way up to the top here, almost to the top. Like I said, I want to leave about an inch, inch and a half, couple of inches up top, so I can get a nice deep dark blue up there. So get the page wet, but like I said, not sopping wet. So that looks pretty good. So now we're going to take this French ultramarine blue. Is a great sky color to use. If you want a nice crisp blue sky, this is the color to go with. So load up your brush. Actually, first we're going to want to put in the sunset colors, because we're going to want to pull the blue down over the sunset colors. So let's get a little bit of yellow out here on my palette for the sun. For sunsets and stuff, I love to use this Dark Barton's watercolor, liquid watercolors. They great saturation, great brilliant colors. So get a little bit of orange, and a little bit of red. Grab a round brush here. Alright, yellow. Let's see, let's put the sun right about here. So yellow for the sun. Maybe carry a little bit of it out. Grab some of this, make some orange color. Throw it in here. Grab some of this reds. Add some reds in. Whoosh, that's probably a little too much. Alright. Make sure you carry this color down below your tree line. Like I was saying, you're going to want this color to peek through. Grab a little bit more yellow because I'm losing my sun a little bit. Okay, that's probably good. Alright, now our paper is still wet, so we're good to go with the sky here. So let's load up this brush. Again, get some good blue colors. This blue. Okay, we're going to start up top, just like I demonstrated here. We're going to start up top here where we want the color the darkest. By painting it in nice and dark. And now we're just going to work back and forth like I showed you, down the page. Like I said, if you want it to fade out quicker, clean out your brush. So anytime you load your brush up with paint again, you're going to want to start back up at top and lay it in, work down. Keep adding layers of paint until it's as dark as you want up top. He's working down the page. Now we're going to take the edge of the brush and draw some clouds in here over the sunset. See that? See how nice that is? Alright, now to get these wispy clouds in here, what you do is take some clean paper towels, and while this is still wet, so you kind of have to work kind of quickly, you're going to want to come back in here and lift the paint back out with the paper towel. See how as I rub the paper towel, it picks up the pigment. The wetter the paper is, the more pigment you're going to pick up, and the softer it will be because it'll draw the paint back in. So it's kind of you kind of have to wait till the paper is at the proper wetness that you want to get the effect you want. So this is pretty good down here. So we're going to lift out some clouds here. Going for wispy clouds. Now I'm just very lightly touching right now to get these to pick up the pigment. The harder you push, the more pigment you're going to pick up. Some little puffy clouds right here and over here. So clouds are pretty easy. And just keep lifting until we are happy with how our clouds look. I would say that looks pretty good. Okay, now at this point we're going to have to let this dry, because the next thing we'll need to do is come in here and paint these dark silhouetted trees in. And if we do this right now, it's just going to bloom. The wet paper is just going to take that paint and bloom it up, and it'll completely destroy your sunset colors. So I'm going to let this dry, and when we come back, I'll paint the trees in. Alright, welcome back. Now that this is dry, we can go in and finish this up by putting in our trees. As you can see, the trees are in front of the sun, so they're silhouetted. Now if you're working from a photograph, you might be tempted to paint these trees with black. In watercolors, I almost never use black. Actually, I don't even have black on my palette. So instead of black, I would use dark blues, purples, browns, even a dark red, you know, like a maroon or something. For this, I'm going to use blues and purples because it'll tie the bottom of the painting in nicely with the top. So I'm not going to wet the paper. I'm going to leave the paper dry. Get some paint out on our palette here. This is the French ultramarine blue that I used in the sky. I'm going to grab some of this Windsor violet here. Windsor violet and some Persian blue. Persian blue is nice. It's nice. It's a nice dark color. So let's get some of this paint out here. Alright, that's probably good. Alright, as you paint these trees, think of how trees are in real life. They're typically dense in the center and less dense up top. So let's start by putting in some really dark color down here at the bottom. Now you want to vary your colors as you go along, because very few things in the world are solid one tone of color, especially natural objects, because the trees, think about the trees, they're three-dimensional, so they have shadows and stuff, and a good way to simulate that as you paint is to vary the color as you go along. So as you get to the top of the trees, you're going to want to leave holes for the birds to fly through. So just keep, as you get to the top, make sure you leave some little holes for your birds. Now, you see how this is drying out? In watercolors, you kind of have to work fast, because you're not going to want to let this dry out or you'll get a hard edge. So I just keep working on across the page. Make sure I'm not leaving too solid of a mass up at top of the tree where it starts to thin out. Varying the color. Something else you don't want to do, you don't want to have like just purple over here and not purple anywhere else. You kind of want to use your colors throughout your painting. That helps lead the eye through the painting. So we'll just keep working these trees in here. As you can see now why I let the paint come down below the trees. Generally in watercolors you work from light to dark and from general to details. And we'll keep painting these trees in here. Probably a little too much. Keep varying the color as you go along. Almost there. So there you have it. It's as simple as that. That one simple technique, you can paint all sorts of landscapes. And there you go.